that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Trent Baalke has been fired from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I can't stand Trent Baalke. All of you know who have been on this channel long enough understand the disdain that I hold for Trent Baalke. The worst general manager in the history of all time. I'm sorry, I just can't stand him. This guy almost made me give up being a 49er fan. He impacted me so deeply that I almost couldn't take it anymore. But he gets fired today from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And let's talk about also the impact that comes along with his firing. So, although I relish in Trent Baalke not being a general manager anymore, it actually might be a negative impact to the San Francisco 49ers. And this is why, is because 49er fans, they want Robert Saleh to be the next defensive coordinator, right, for their team. Now that Trent Baalke's out the door, Jacksonville becomes all of a sudden a much more desirable spot to be a coach, because you're not coaching under a guy who you already know is going to get fired next year. It is a foregone conclusion that Trent Baalke was a dead man walking in that Jacksonville Jaguars organization. It was ridiculous in the first place that they kept him. Shouldn't have even hired him to begin with. And the fact that they waited this long into the situation to allow it to play out this way, just organizational malpractice. And unfortunately for the Jags, they lost out on two potential top coaching candidates because they kept Trent Baalke. So the question becomes, how does this impact Robert Saleh? It might not be the best situation, because what the Jags can now offer is a fresh start and a little bit of more freedom for their head coach in decision-making powers or roster building, type decisions. So does this help or hurt the 49ers in getting Robert Saleh? I think it actually hurts them a little bit, because Trent Baalke is that bad of a general manager that it actually makes that job more desirable now. So, and if I'm Shad Khan and I've done this, I've made the decision, first of all, to keep Trent Baalke, and then waited this long to then fire Trent Baalke, I'm on the ropes. I'm hanging on by a thread. Do I have someone to coach this team this year? So if I'm the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, you have to make desperate moves right now. So the thing is do you bring in a coordinator who's never been a head coach before? Or do you bring in a guy like Robert Saleh who's done it, who's been a head coach? Even if he's not an offensive-minded guy, he has been a head coach before. So he brings that experience. He comes from the 49ers culture. He has experience with the Jags prior. So I don't know. I don't know how this all works, but I'm not of the mindset that it is actually going to totally help the 49ers. It actually could be the opposite. So it's going to be fascinating to see. It does sound like they're going to reopen up their search a little bit here to try to maybe Joe Brady was a name that was thrown out there as they were going to try to re-engage in potential talks with him, because it does sound like they do want an offensive minded head coach. They want someone with an offensive background to pair with Trevor Lawrence, to pair with Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Etienne. They want an offensive guy. So I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. So much drama in the buildup to the 49ers defensive coordinator. How is it somehow, even indirectly, the 49ers are just tied to drama? Like, this is all going through with the Jags, but because the Jags are fumbling, the 49ers are just sitting here waiting. We have to wait for that decision to come through. So they can't even make a move. They can't even do what they want to do because they're waiting for this situation with the Jags to play out. So I find it fascinating. I find it uh I find it entertaining, but I can't stand Trent Baalke. So I'm a little bit excited by this news, just because I don't think he should be a general manager. He dug the 49ers into an unbearable hole, as his time with the general manager took once was a star-studded roster and drove it into the ground, drafting ACL prospect after ACL prospect, passing on Dak Prescott for Rashard Robinson. Just terrible decisions all the way around. Drafting Vance McDonald in the second round. Just awful decisions. Just awful decisions, whether through the draft, through free agency. He's just not a good general manager. So he is no longer with the Jags, but it will be interesting, like I said, to see how this works. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to think about this. So drop it in the chat. Do you think this actually helps or hurts the 49ers? If you think it helps, type help. If you think it hurts, type hurt. I'm very, very interested to see, because I've seen it both ways. I've seen some people say that they actually think this could be a positive sign for the 49ers because they think that they're going to open up their search again and it could put them in a better position. But I think we all kind of see at least what the chat is saying. So far, most of the comments that I've seen right now say it hurts the 49ers because honestly, if Trent Baalke was the general manager, it would make a ton of sense for Robert Saleh to choose elsewhere. And then let's see, we got some stuff coming out here. Yes. So I don't know. But the 49ers continue to be in limbo land. A spot that we are very familiar with. We are used to being in the upside down realm of the NFL, just like this lurking period, this waiting kind of, we don't really know what the future holds, and we're just kind of holding our breath to see what the next move is going to be. And I don't know. I think it could be enough to sway Robert Saleh. I think I saw someone pose someone say that hold on a second. Squirrel. Tim Kawakami says, could the 49ers nerve-wracking DC search lead them to Pete Carroll? Saying if Robert Saleh comes off the table, Shanahan has at least check in with Carroll, assuming Carroll doesn't get the Raiders job, and he might have checked in already. Interesting. So Tim Kawakami is basically saying Pete Carroll could be a option. Pete Carroll is 73 years old, but he also is one of the key architects of the scheme that the 49ers are currently running. Let's see. Fascinating. So, the options remain open for the 49ers if it does not look like Robert Saleh is going to be that guy. Wow. So this is what Kawakami says. He says, I've heard that Carroll's name has come up inside 49ers HQ as an interesting idea at least. But the 49ers also have to wait out things with Carroll. According to The Athletic, could be the Raiders' number one choice now that Ben Johnson has taken the Chicago Bears job. So interesting. Interesting. So the 49ers DC search, did you expect it to be a straight arrow? Probably not. But the 49ers, this is kind of what Tim Kawakami was alluding to earlier in the day. We talked about some tweets that he was pointing out, and then he drops this article. So he clearly was pointing towards this on his earlier tweets when he was discussing there might be things that the 49ers are doing internally that we might not know about or talking about, which sounds like Pete Carroll is one of those. So interesting. Justin says they better hire DC before the Senior Bowl. Well, that's next week. The clock is ticking on the decision to make. Oh, boy. So it's going to be. Hold on, I'm making a post. If Robert Saleh falls through. All right. The search continues and more twists and turns by the minute. Would you guys rock with Pete Carroll as your defensive coordinator? Would your disdain for the Seattle Seahawks allow you to be excited about that. I've talked about that as a potential option, and I honestly don't think it's a terrible idea. I really don't. I don't care who he's coached for before. If I'm being bluntly honest, because once he's hired with the 49ers, his main goal is to get the 49ers to win. And I don't know. He brings some energy for a 73-year-old. It'd be interesting for sure. For sure, for sure. But I wouldn't hate it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really wouldn't. I really wouldn't. It wouldn't be my first choice, but I also wouldn't mind it at the same time. So we'll see, man. We'll see what is going to go down here. A lot of things evolving across the league right now. The New England Patriots are finalizing their staff. We had the Jets hire their head coach today. Um, Obviously, Trent Baalke fired today. And now Pete Carroll being linked to the 49ers by Tim Kawakami of the SF Standard. Um, Interesting. Interesting. Something tells me we are not close just yet to having a decision on the 49ers new defensive coordinator job. So hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. Things could get very interesting here. Do I have a migraine today? No, Trent Baalke got fired. So it's it's a very for me a fun time in the NFL. I love the offseason. I love all the twists and turns to see the butterfly effect of how these decisions are made, how it impacts teams' futures, and the moves that need to be made. Once one move is made, it's a domino that falls, and then all these other moves get made. So I enjoy this time of the year. I really do. I enjoy it a little more. I enjoy it, I would say, more when the 49ers aren't in the thick of it. Oh, do not put this evil on me, Ricky Bobby. The 49ers better not, better even not, better even not. Oh, so I'm also someone who I don't really celebrate people losing their jobs. It's a very serious thing in my opinion. It's one of the reasons why I don't like call for coaches to get fired. I don't call for players to just get outright cut. I'd rather have more nuanced conversations about it. But I will celebrate Trent Baalke getting fired every single time. It's just no ifs, ands, or but about it. I will absolutely be excited about it because I can't stand Trent Baalke. Absolutely cannot. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I think 49er fans would be a little bit more upbeat about this situation if there were more candidates to kind of bounce off of. I think the fact that the 49ers have publicly only interviewed 3, one of them being an internal hire, or potential internal hire, I think kind of frustrates the fan base, because I think the way that I'm seeing it from the fan base is they perceive that it's almost being perceived as being lazy, I think, by some of the fans. And I think they just want to see that the 49ers have done a thorough search. They have talked to different minds, and they just want to see that the due diligence has been done. I think the fact that, at least based on all the comments that I've seen about it, it seems like it's upsetting some fans, that it feels like the 49ers just knocked out those 3 interviews and they're just waiting. And I think the perception is that by waiting, and then potentially losing on Saleh, like, what are you left with? Staley. 49er fans don't want Staley. So I think they associate Staley with like a Sorensen hire. So that's not something they want to see either. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But I don't mind the Pete Carroll. I don't mind that. I think that is like I said, an interesting development. I think that again makes me a little bit more optimistic. The thing with Pete Carroll, though, is he is in the running to be the head coach for the Raiders. So that's also another interesting development. Does he get that job? Do the Raiders? I don't even know who the Raiders have been hiring, because I'm not, or interviewing, because I'm not going to pretend like I've been following their search and their candidates and all that kind of crap. So I don't know what their search is looking like, but it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be really interesting to see how it's all going to happen. How did Pete Carroll come up? Tim Kawakami of the SF Standard posted an article, and he had said that Pete Carroll's name has come up internally in conversations as a potential. That it wasn't like the 49ers are pursuing Pete Carroll. He had just said that Pete Carroll's name has come up inside 49ers headquarters as a potential option if Robert Saleh were to fall through. So it's not like they've interviewed him. It's not like we've heard anything about them going after him, but it would be interesting. Didn't Pete Carroll coach for us? He actually got his start with Bill Walsh. Actually, when I was at the Combine a couple years ago, I was standing at Pete Carroll's podium while he was speaking to the media, and he actually told a really cool story about how a conversation at the NFL Combine with Bill Walsh led to him getting his first coaching opportunity in the NFL with the 49ers. So he credits Bill Walsh with his start. He talked about how, just this one conversation with Bill, Bill took him under his wing, and the rest is history. So, it could be a full circle moment for Pete Carroll if he did want to come back to the San Francisco 49ers, a place where he started his career. It'd be interesting. And again, the NFL is such an incestual league that you just bounce around. There's only 32 spots that you can go to. So it's not crazy for guys to go to division rivals, big time rivals. It is what it is, man. Like, this is a business at the end of the day, and you got to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented. So if it becomes a potential, why not? I'd be interested in it for sure. What is Wilkes doing? I've heard Wilkes is in consideration for the New York Jets defensive coordinator job. So that could be a potential as well. So we will see what is going to go on with this whole coaching search. all of it. There's going to be plenty of stuff for us to talk about surrounding the San Francisco 49ers. A lot. I will be back on. We'll be going live at 2, so in an hour. We'll be going live with Aponte. We'll be doing State of the Franchise, so we'll get some spicy Aponte takes over here. So we'll be back on to talk all things 49ers in a little bit deeper, broader conversation in about an hour. So we'll be back on, but appreciate all you guys. We'll be back in a little bit, and we got more. We'll definitely have something to talk about. All right. Until then, I'll see you guys in about an hour. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see you.